Today's Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz has an SUV for you, whether it's the stylish GLC, compact GLA, three-row GLS, or the GLE, GLC plug-in hybrids. Visit MBUSA.com for special offers. The Dodgers' starting pitchers have an ERA of over 6 in the postseason. That's the highest of any team going into the World Series since 2003. When the Florida Marlins came in, giving up 6.5 runs per game.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day.
Stat of the day brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards of the Dan Patrick Show. Former Reds first baseman. Played all 17 seasons with the Reds, former MVP in the National League. Joey Votto back on the program. Man, don't you wish you were starting your career now, the way the pitching is now?
Why do you say that?
I don't know.
That's interesting. Why?
It just feels like fastballs. And you might have been a different hitter. You might have been more of a power hitter, I guess, because it feels like everybody, well, would you have benefited in today's baseball as opposed to, 10, 15 years ago?
Well, the back third of my career, I think I noticed a difference in the baseball. I think I noticed that the ball was traveling a slightly farther than I was used to. Now, I could be wrong, and this could be some sort of mismemory, but I really think that could be a factor. And there's been several players and several studies that have pointed that out. Now, I don't want to get in trouble from Manfred and the group.
You can't get in trouble now. You don't play anymore.
I can't get in trouble anymore. So I think that's probably the biggest factor. The pitching is what it is. I actually think there's less fastballs now. And as I played and aged and experienced the batter pitcher matchup, I thought they were throwing much less fastballs.
Now?
Yeah. I think they're throwing maybe 5-ish% less fastballs than maybe in my prime.
Give us the difference between 102 miles an hour and 96, aside from the math here.
Okay. So there's something about the way the ball comes out of a pitcher's hand that matters far more than the velocity. So if you look up at the gun and you see 102, that's only as descriptive as the batter tells you, meaning there could be deception in terms of how he delivers the ball, the arm angle, the spin rate, and I'm sure I'm missing reasons why a ball can be deceptive. Let the batter tell you how hard a pitcher is throwing. Ignore the radar gun. If you're a big fan of the sport, especially hitting, the hitter will always tell you how deceptive that fastball is.
Who had the most deceptive fastball?
There was a few. The most deceptive fastball that wasn't a fastball in my experience was Mariano Rivera. I had one at bat against him, and this was at Yankee Stadium, and it was memorable for me because my late father was there, and this is not long before he passed away. But I remember facing him in the 8th or 9th inning, and it was not an entirely meaningful at bat, as if it was like 2-1 or 3-2 in the 9th inning. And I remember saying to myself, his ball's going to cut. I've watched it on TV for years. I'm going to swing over here. It's going to start on the outside part of the plate, and I'm going to swing like it's going to hit me. And as the ball was approaching, it was as if it was like a frisbee or a boomerang or some sort of UFO that as the ball was approaching the plate, it looked like it was going to, and it just teleported to the other part of the plate. And so for me, that I think of as a fastball. I understand it was a cutter, but when it has fastball velocity, it's the definition of a fastball with the maximum deception.
What'd you do with the pitch?
I check swung, and it lightly rolled to Alex Rodriguez at third base, and I happened to beat it out because I was in my athletic prime.
Help us understand the launch angle with Shohei Ohtani. How much different is it than most power hitters?
Oh, so I think of Shohei Ohtani as different. First of all, we're both left-handed hitters. And I can relate to some of the things that he did because he has the ability to power a ball to the left center field, to the center field, and the right center field part of the park, but make it straight. He can make the ball go straight. Oftentimes, when you hit a ball to left center field, there's going to be a curl to it. And he kills this curl because he's able to get the bat into a position that allows for it to just go straight towards left center field. And when you get that kind of straight trajectory, you get the maximum distance. It just so happens he hits the ball about as hard as everybody in the game. He has the ability to hit the ball, as I mentioned before, to the left center field part of the park. So for me, when you're a batter that knows that at any given point in time, there is a tough pitcher or a left-handed pitcher and you need a little bit extra space as the ball is approaching, you can just aim to left center field. But if you have that power button, you have that boost that instead of a fly ball off the wall or caught in left center field, it goes out. You have your confidence skyrockets. That was the biggest difference deep into my career. When I lost the ability to power the ball to left field, my confidence went down at all times because I didn't feel like no matter what pitch, I could hit, track the ball deep into my swing and hit it out to left center field. Once it was caught at the track or caught in the outfield, I thought to myself, okay, now to get power, I have to pull the ball, and that's a very vulnerable place. It's like a boxer reaching when instead of staying in the pocket. I'm clearly a boxing expert.
Obviously. You didn't get hit very often, though. Look at that face.
Thank you. Yeah.
Better
Man,
hitting ballpark, Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium?
depends. For guys like Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, who have specific styles, Anthony Rizzo, Giancarlo can use it. It matters that the right field is a little bit shorter. Dodger Stadium is the perfect park in baseball to hit in for several reasons. First of all, the weather's so predictable. The lighting, the sunlight, the shadows, the background, predictable. Every hitter just wants predictability. The outfield is gaps are the same 375-ish. Corners are the same. Center field is predictable. If you hit a ball in the gap, it's going to scoot through for a double or a triple. These are really important characteristics for a hitter to be able to set his targets and to be able to try to execute. Now, for example, you're playing in San Francisco or Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden there's wind blowing in, or you really power a ball to a part of the park that's big and that's your strength. It's all of a sudden an out. LA, you don't have that issue. Yankee Stadium, you have that issue.
But as far as hitting in Yankee Stadium, you do have the friendly right field porch. But the background, I mean, and you're going to have wind in there. Weather will play a role. But just seeing the ball, players talk about that all the time. There's certain ballparks, you just pick it up a little sooner than other ballparks.
Yankee Stadium has maybe the best background batter's eye. It has maybe the best batter's box. It has one of the best East Coast surfaces. This matters because the East Coast, Midwest, and the South have a difficult climate for the grounds crews to maintain. The West Coast, it's like, no disrespect to the West Coast grounds crews, but every single ballpark is pretty similar in terms of upkeep. So for me, Yankee Stadium is perfect, but if you don't have the ability as a right-handed hitter to power the ball in left center field, you have to hit a ball 400 feet. It's the same for a left-hand hitter. Very few left-hand hitters can do that. Yankees happen to have probably the best left-hand hitter, not named Shohei Ohtani, in the game.
How does this World Series play out in your opinion?
Dodgers have home field advantage. I think that matters. The Yankees haven't played a West Coast game. The Dodgers have already, so there may be something to sleeps, and I don't know, but it's going to come down to randomness. These are the two best offensive teams. This is the best case scenario for, I think, fans of the sport. I mean, this is an opportunity for the sport to I think move forward, but we're going to need a deep series, and my prediction is I think the Dodgers, with the home field advantage, are going to win this one.
Do you have a rooting interest?
I care so much about the sport. I care so much about the expansion of the sport. We've got four of the best, probably six players, probably four of the best 50, maybe 75 players in the history of the game in the World Series right now. We've got probably a top 50 athlete in the world in Shohei Ohtani in terms of fandom. So I care desperately about our sport growing and people falling in love with it. It's difficult when all of the sports are regional and all of a sudden you get dunked on the national stage. Fortunately, thankfully, we've got New York and LA. We've got four mega stars in Mookie, Aaron, Juan Soto, and the ace of, spades, the king, whatever, the big dog, Shohei Ohtani. If we can maximize this, this is really great for our sport. I don't want to see a sweep. I don't want to see a 5-game series.
He's Joey Votto, former National League MVP back in 2010. I couldn't help but think of Mike Trout when I saw Shohei Ohtani celebrating after winning the National League Championship Series. I mean, there's a really good chance, or bad chance, depending on how you look at it. Mike Trout will play in 3 playoff games in his entire career, Joey.
Mike Trout is it, before Shohei, I thought it was impossible. I'll say this. Before Albert Pujols, I thought I'd never see a better player. Before Mike Trout, I thought I'd never see a better player. And now Shohei Ohtani has come along, and imagine being on that team with those 3 players. So for Mike Trout, he is dedicated to that organization, and that's the give and take of attaching yourself at the hip with an organization. If you have the good fortune of being inside of a window of winning with an organization, it gets tied to your legacy. And the inverse is the same. As someone that played for one organization who had, I think, maybe 5, 8-ish playoff games, I did not win a playoff series. That's part of my relationship with the fans of Cincinnati. The best thing that I think can happen, even if he's not at his peak, he gets an opportunity to go into play in the World Series and gets to do it in an Angels uniform. I think that is the dream story for him. And kudos to him. He's never, misspoke about the organization or especially the fan base. And I think they appreciate that.
I think you played in 11 playoff games. You got into the playoffs, I think, 4 times. So at least you had the opportunity. He made it once. He played 3 games against Kansas City. That's a shame when the best player in the sport for a good 7, 8 years was not playing in the postseason.
Yeah, we need our best players on the biggest stage. And my favorite moment of 2024 was that matchup against Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani at the World Baseball Classic. Now, I was excited, and baseball hitting specifically is so tough because even if you go 3 for 10, especially in today's game, you're an all-star or a Hall of Famer. If you factor in another one with the walk, 4 out of 10 times not making outs, you're a clear Hall of Famer. And Mike Trout had the opportunity against who was probably at his peak physically, maybe the best. I think it was 2023. Forgive me if I'm getting the dates wrong, but maybe the best pitcher in the game at the time. We got to watch it on stage in the biggest moment. We need those for our best players. And back to the World Series, we are going to have those. The 2 best offensive teams with 4 of the best, probably 6 players in the sport. What a gift.
The difference of playing in front of Yankee fans and the difference playing in front of Dodger fans.
Dodger fans will show up a little late, and you'll look over the dugout and you'll see Jerry Seinfeld, or you'll see Bryan Cranston. New York, everyone's I suppose in that first little section where their driver's a little late, or they had to their hedge fund went a little bit later than so the first sections. But from second inning on, when they're calling for the lineup, and the lineup on the field is connecting rain, sleet, or snow with the fans, and you can hear the anger and the energy, and you can sense as you're on the field. I'm on a bigger stage than I've ever been on. No disrespect to LA, but there is nothing like being in New York with a good Yankees team at Yankee Stadium. There's nothing like it. I'll tell a quick story. I was in New York at the old stadium, first time. The roster was Jeter, A-Rod, Hideki Matsuyama. I mean, the roster was deep. And it was the seventh inning. And I was on the field up 3-1, thinking I'm part of the Reds and we're going to win, sort of thing. And all of a sudden, you could just feel the energy of the crowd. And this is a regular season game. Feel the energy of the crowd, and you could hear the ghosts. Now, there's no ghosts. I'm not a ghost believer, but you could feel the ghosts inside the stadium. And A-Rod got a hit, and you could feel the sort of the momentum going, we're going to take this from you, and you've got no say over this. I feel like with this particular roster and these superstars on the Yankees roster, I think that there's a chance to kind of change the trajectory of that stadium and create a new aura there.
Great to talk to you as always. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks, Dan.
That's Joey Votto, former Reds first baseman, played all 17 seasons in the major leagues with the Reds, former MVP. He should be on TV.